All right.
What up?
We're gone, right?
Yes, episode 149 of the Hub 408. You're in the house with an OnStar
$149.
Ninja Iceberg.
It
Hmm.
is
The long
a
haul
warm day.
and a warm day.
So uncomfortable. better than I don't know if it's better than last week. Last week was kind of weird, right? Like there was one day that it actually kind of was like humid and hot.
Yes.
Kind of reminded me of like Asia a little bit.
Yes.
It was very
I
weird.
know I know exactly what you mean.
But yeah, what's going on?
Going live everywhere else too. Hopefully it shows up and it does. It's awesome. You get to see, you get to stream. Again, episode 149. Make sure you, if you're watching on other platforms, make sure you guys hit up the chat, say hello to us. We'll put your comments or whatever, questions, anything nerdy tonight, I guess. Come and hang out with the guys. What's up to everybody on Kumu, Slip and Slide, Roslyn, Island Ballin, my old and new friends, Fran Sariano, Melissa. Welcome to Kumu. Um, yeah, how are you, Ninja?
Yeah, so like I said, it's all right. Just trying to beat the heat. Just trying to chill, trying to relax.
Yes. You're in the house with again me, Ron, and Ninja. I don't know if the fellas are going to be joining us a little bit later, but they'll jump in as soon as they do. I'll put them up right here. But how's your week been, Ninja?
Pretty boring actually.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, the my company's going through a weird phase, and so we're still working through it. So it just means I have not a lot to do currently. So yeah,
Mm.
this is
How
the
have you been occupying your time then?
uh keeping up with current events. It's a lot of like stuff to watch and you know current event wise. So that's all I've been doing. Podcasts, Twitch streams, whatever's out there to just while away my time. Uh, the new episode of Obi-Wan, we can talk about that I guess if we're caught up. Ms. Marvel came out this week as well, so
I saw
we can
that
talk
too.
about that.
Saw that too.
Yeah, it's really about it. Just a lot of current events. The January 6th hearings was this week. It started this week, so there's a lot of that going on. Could talk about that a little bit if anyone wants to.
The fallout also from Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, which has dominated our headline. Hey, dude, this is probably the greatest trial since OJ. They've been kind of throwing that out there, and I'll kind of put that up there. This kind of it was crazy to see an A-lister up there like taking these.
Yeah, yeah. People have been saying that. I personally haven't really been paying too much attention to it. Like I've been getting like a TLDR and trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening, and stuff like that. But I don't really care that much about it, right? Like, I just can't get worked up about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
It's
I was gonna say I think it's kind of cool though how certain places have been actually from this could be a hot take or whatever, but they're like more like, hey, this is a win for the guys. One of the seldom public wins guys usually, because usually if you're a scumbag doing something bad or whatever, you're gonna, so I guess when it's on the other shoe, you know what I
mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
It's yeah, people were saying that should be celebrated also. Although I mean I don't agree with like things saying like, oh well, things like this will make the Me Too movement shut down and stuff like that.
I
I
mean,
believe.
but here's the thing: it is happening though. That's the thing. You might not want to believe it, but it is happening.
Well,
Right wing people have been claiming Johnny Depp right now as their like example of why Me Too is a failure and why we shouldn't believe all women. You know, that kind of thing.
well, I don't know
So
about all. I'm just saying the ones that you know for sure you can get caught up and not want to mess around with, just like the situation he had. What's up to Gian Aldwin? ¿Cómo está? How are you? I don't know if you're still here, but hello. But yeah, I mean, all kinds of other stuff has been happening. I know, I mean, not on a sour, really tragic note. I mean, is there's continued mass shootings across the
mhm.
U.S. too happening, and it's
Yeah.
just yeah, we're living in those you know what, we are living kind of in those apocalyptic end days where there's a deadly
Mhm.
virus going on,
Yeah.
violence amiss. Some
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
Like you don't
necessarily
really
it's
like you
not
don't really
necessarily Mad
realize that you're
Max, right?
yeah.
But there's ghost towns. There's
Mhm.
parts where it's like empty,
Sure.
right? There's so like I see that around my area. You know, I'm pretty sure like a lot of places that couldn't keep up with rent or whatever in the Bay
Mhm.
Area, they lost out on that too. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, oh wow, it did kind of turn into, we're not putting armor on our cars yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? We're
Mhm.
not putting a bulldozer in front of the Corvette. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
whatever fast car you acquire during those end days. You feel me?
Mhm.
But
Yeah, but we are yeah, but you are right. We're kind of in that weird like I don't think America will necessarily really descend into Mad Max territory, which honestly kind of makes it even shittier, right? Because the thing is, with like a Mad Max kind of thing, with like an actual like story movie post apocalyptic kind of thing, there's something to fight against. But in the America that we live in now, it's a lot more insidious. You know,
mm,
it's a lot more. Uh, Things get normalized really quickly. It's more like living in like a Nazi Germany kind of thing, where people kind of look at certain things like, oh, this is I guess the new normal, and then there's always new normals, and that's kind of and it becomes more and more acceptable. Like right now, there's a lot of like, yes, the gun issue. Um, every single time this kind of thing happens, everyone's like, enough is enough, and this time it'll be different. But will it actually be different? And is it actually enough? Like
mm,
like if this didn't if no one if it didn't move the needle 10 years ago with Sandy Hook, why would it move the needle now? More people died in Sandy Hook. you know why
mm,
would it move the needle now? And we could have moved the needle anytime within those 10 years, but it didn't happen. We could have moved the needle since Columbine. Nothing happened. The only thing that did actually happen was what, in 2004, the assault weapons ban was allowed to lapse. It didn't get renewed, and lo and behold, mass shootings actually went up after that. So there is a lot of factors of why this kind of stuff is happening, but obviously the one constant is the guns, right? Like I don't understand how people can just be like, oh, but it's guns don't kill people, people kill people, but it's people with guns killing people, right?
mm.
that's that's the problem. If you take those people and you take away their guns, they're not killing people like this. Sure, other places have like knife mass knifings or whatever, but okay. You're not efficiently killing 20 people. You're efficiently stabbing 20 people. That's the worst thing that happens in other countries. So yeah, there's that. There's there's the recent uptick in like anti-trans rhetoric. especially during Pride Month. It's kind of like, what are we doing? You know, there's the anti-trans stuff, and then that's obviously going to bleed into the anti-gay, anti-lesbian rhetoric. Eventually that's going to happen. It's already kind of happening.
Been happening.
Yeah.
I think.
No, it's been renewed. It kind of went away for a little bit, but ever since the whole anti-trans stuff going on, anti-groomer stuff going on, it's starting to come back. Florida has the "Don't Say Gay" stuff, So yeah, America is just kind of in a weird. Well, not weird. We allowed this kind of stuff to happen, and there's a whole segment of the population that is okay with it because they've been duped or they've been misled by their leaders. Look at the J6 hearings and how insanely ridiculous some of these people are, how many hoops these people are jumping through to say that, this whole thing is a farce. And it's like, no, we need to figure out what happened. Or we need to figure out how did it happen? We know what happened. How did it happen? Who caused it to happen? And all the people, especially on Trump's side, is trying to deflect. And it's like, of course they're trying to deflect. They fucked up. They created a monster that they actually don't know how to contain, right? Like they didn't realize how easy it is to dupe dumb people, I guess. And I'm just gonna say, fuck it. I'm gonna say it. People are fucking dumb. You're listening to Trump talk about like these conspiracy theories, and you believe that? I mean, I know a lot of people are probably gonna be like, "Oh, but aren't you dumb for believing the other side, the other lies, and all that kind of stuff?" And it's like, well, here's the thing. At the very least, there is evidence for the beliefs that I have, right, that I hold. Am I 100% trusting of the government? Fuck no, dude. Fuck no. Look at like 2 years ago during the whole George Floyd stuff. Obviously, we can't trust the state, Look at Uvalde. Look at what the cops did there. We can't trust them for anything. So I'm not saying that I'm putting my entire trust in the state, but if there was evidence of widespread voter fraud, it would have come up. It would have come up.
But I think even then,
the president of the United States,
like 2000 something, right? I mean, like even then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, in 2000, yes, the election was stolen. The Al Gore, that election basically stolen.
And not only that, you think about 9/11. All these kids living in a post 9/11 to where they're probably kids. They seen the towers go down and they're like, oh, I hate this type of person, So when they grow up, Trump is their president, and he's telling them, yo, storm the Capitol. So these kids that are 7 years old, that they see their parents storming the Capitol, you know what I mean?
Yep.
In 30 years, they're going to be on some old, so this is what we breed out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. America honestly is a fucked up spot, and no amount of praying and going to church is going to fix it. It's just not. Sorry. People talk about
you breed that kind of hate, you breed that kind of rhetoric, and I'm sure. I mean, we're not talking about. We're only talking about American politics. But I'm just saying, everywhere across the world, though, too. You know what I mean? Like things like that are put in place because it's meant to, because of the powers that be. So like if this is a pattern of behavior that just keeps happening, of like, all right, again, kids that are 7 years old, they've seen those towers go down. All of a sudden, they grow up. Trump's our president. They're like, yeah, we're, you know what I mean?
Sure.
They're finally armored up. Blah blah blah. So they're gonna tell. Of course, they're telling their kids, oh, your grandpappy, Jason. Your Lolo here was I stormed the Capitol. You know what I mean? I know there were some Filipinos out there too that stormed the Capitol. You feel me? They was out there. You feel me? So I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's honestly ridiculous. Then there's like the people who like Jack Del Rio. I don't know if you saw what he said today about how it was a dust up at the Capitol and
A
how
dust up.
it was a dust up and how why aren't we investigating the cities that were burned and yada
The
yada yada.
illest video, the illest video I seen was one where they go minute by minute of what is happening.
Yeah,
They
the one from the other day, right?
well, no, this is one when it went down. So it was like after
Okay.
it went down, and it's like the
Yeah.
entire cut. Whoever super cut it, it was some
Sure.
news agency to where they every single whatever timestamp it was that's what they were showing you go down. So
Yeah.
if these men are talking about it was a dust up,
Yeah.
that was not a that was
No, it's not.
it was
And to
an overthrow of a building by
Right,
a mob
yeah.
of people. You know what I mean? Armed.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
And
They were
and
not
to
white
compare
men.
it to and then to compare that to Black Lives Matter protests, it's like
That's crazy, right?
one is protesting the fact that
They're shooting at us.
they're
If you're out there
yes,
protesting, you're
people of
shooting at
color,
us.
black people are being systematic, they're being fucked up by cops, and they're just saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't fuck us up without without a good cause, compared to someone stole the election. Like that is an insane comparison, right? One is purely a defensive protest that turned violent because police were there to escalate the violence, right? Like if you fucking sat there and watched the protest, it was fine until the cops showed up, and then the cops showed up to antagonize people. What do you think when people start getting tear gassed? When you start talking shit to people who are angry that they're being killed, and you're being told to just go home. Of course you're going to be angry. Of course you're going to be mad. You're fighting for people's lives here. January 6th, you're fighting for some, but for January 6th, you're fighting for some rich fat dude, who can't even play golf properly because he thinks that he fucking lost an election. And for what? What was he going to do with that election if he won? He didn't do shit during his fucking term anyways.
He don't care about you anyway.
Yeah, he don't fucking care. So that's the difference between the two. Do I care that a Target got burnt down? No, fuck no, dude. I don't fucking care that a Target got burned down. Target can all the targets can get burned down, All the targets in America can get burned down. I wouldn't give a fuck if that's the way they want to protest. Is it kind of shitty? Sure, but you know what? I really don't care, because it's not about the property damage. It's about the people, right? If you're more worried about Target burning down rather than like a black person getting killed by a cop, you need to really think about that for a second. Really think about that.
Oh, but you shouldn't. That's a Target. We should. It's. I'm like, no, I don't give a fuck if it's a corporation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I actually, you know what? Honestly, like I've been thinking about it. I kind of don't even care that the Capitol got stormed. It's the fact that people were storming it,
Yeah.
It's
real out of line, right?
It
was out of line.
It's what. No, it's just what it's the actions, the actions.
Yeah, they were out of line.
It's like
way out of line.
But blowing, I mean, if they had burned it down too, well, it would not have changed anything, honestly.
I'll say this though too. I thought about this though too. Like, Timothy McVeigh, right? Loads up a truck.
Yeah.
Boom. Blows a little bit of the World Trade Center, right? Before the big one, right? Correct?
He blew up Oklahoma City.
Oh, Oklahoma City. Sorry.
Yeah. There was something before the World Trade Center, something similar, but it didn't. It didn't work.
Correct. But
Timothy McVeigh was the.
It took one guy. It took one guy. All I'm saying is it took one guy to bomb that building, right? But then when it comes to the Capitol, all those guys, and they couldn't even. You know what I mean? If they really wanted to do some, you know what I mean?
Did you see that some
Crazy.
people brought guns to DC, but they decided to leave their guns in their hotel
Yeah.
because they're like gun laws in DC are stricter. So guess what? Gun laws work.
But the fact that they went there, the fact that they came armed, it's in their possession.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you mean to tell me if it did go down in the streets, like as if it was the purge, that
Mhm.
these people were ready? Not only that, you also get into the whole like to link things. The white kid that shot those dudes, Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever.
Kyle Rittenhouse, yeah.
You get them types,
Yeah.
right? That So anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Episode 149. We're just talking about the state of the world today. Please
State of
comment
America.
below.
State of America. It's
You
too
feel me?
talking about the entire world is way too complicated.
On
Man.
some grown up shit. You feel me? Before we nerd out, because you gotta nerd out about
Is this
the state of the world.
Is this like
I guess.
season 5 of White People?
It'll
Fuck,
season
man.
5.
I don't even know, dude.
Actually, I know. Remember when we were potting during the Obama years, right? when things were different, right? It was a different outlook.
I mean,
we actually lived through something like that.
The outlook was different, but the issues are still the same. Like the stuff from Obama's time, we're still talking about that shit. We still don't.
But
have
were you as
universal
tense?
healthcare.
Were you as mad? Were you? I mean,
No.
The,
But maybe
the information
it was
they gave you during these administrations is just infuriating.
Yeah.
And not only that, the other events in the world are infuriating to where you remember times in your life as a kid where it was not as bad. There was a time in our lives that there was no mass shootings. You feel me? Like
not
that was
as much,
kind of rare. You know what I mean? Even pre-Columbine, all that stuff. We did live through a time where we could go to school and you might be scared of the Night Stalker trying to kill somebody out of school.
Yeah,
sure.
we'll have that, right? Things like that, but we're not worried about somebody shooting up a school, an entire. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how now you get
school,
all walks of
a hospital,
life too.
A mall. Yeah,
but you get all walks of life now too, joining in. It also makes I know some people are watching this. They could be friends, my old friends, classmates, and all that stuff. But like, we knew somebody. I knew somebody, friend of mine. You know what I mean? Not gonna repeat their name, but if you know and maybe put two and two together, remember the dude that was gonna shoot up Deanza?
Yeah.
Was it Deanza?
Yeah. No, a buddy of mine was friends with him. Yeah.
Right. So we were friends with this person through church, through going school together, right? Going to school together.
Yeah.
So
I think he was like a year younger than us, I think.
Yeah. So you look at all these factors of why, how, and even with that person too, I never thought that person would have hate in their heart like that.
Yeah.
Also, you know what I mean? But the fact that they did also could have been on some role play fantasy. I don't know what. Who knows? Depends on how far somebody takes these type of things, and if you're acquiring material, you still could be in a tinkering mode, curious. But when you start amassing a surplus of weapons, you know what I mean, and you're out here like, you're gonna get caught. If you out here taking selfies when selfies weren't big.
Well, he took selfies with a film camera and then took it to like the CVS or the Rite Aid to get them developed. That's how he got caught.
Yeah. And
so
I mean, unfortunate, but I'm just saying, like, in my experiences with him too, right? And not only that, whoever I was with at the time too, I believe the police talked to us too, because they pretty much contacted anybody that signed his yearbook, I believe. So they contact, they talked to each and every one of us, and I don't know if my answer was the same as everybody else, but I pretty much said, hey, I knew him as this, and it was more in a positive,
Yeah.
loving type relationship. So when you find out like, oh, this person had hate in their heart like that,
Mhm.
you could laugh and maybe sully on his follies of like, dude, you don't do what you did, you know you were gonna get caught, you know what I mean? But like
Well, he might not have gotten caught
that
if
too,
not for the one mistake that he made, right?
right? Or even if the person didn't even pay attention to what they were developing to,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So like, um, yeah, it's weird to see
And
people from all walks
so
of life, because at
so
first you
that's
think these are crazy white kids, and then when you see
sure.
like it's actually different when it comes to these mass shootings. It's a whole different type of
Sometimes
but
it's usually white kids or white people. It is mostly white people though, but you do occasionally get different kinds of people here and there. Mostly white dudes, mainly dudes. Again, like I think there's only been like 3 female mass shooters in like the last 10 or 20 years, something like that. I think that was the number. Um, but yeah, most of the time it's white dudes. Most of the time they're angry about something. Like Buffalo was white supremacy. Some people, they just don't like a certain type of people, so they target those people. Like Dylan Roof, didn't like black people, the South Carolina guy, or North Carolina, I don't remember. Charleston, I think, South Carolina. Yeah, so some of them are those kinds of guys. Then you have the Las Vegas shooter, who I think even today they still don't really know why he did it.
that shit is
You just,
crazy, right?
you just,
I mean,
yeah,
if
you
you
just
want
have
to talk
people who are
about,
angry. That dude
if
killed
you
like
want to
50,
talk
60
about,
people
dude, and the
with a bow
way he did
stock.
it too, yeah, with the way he did it too was
Yeah,
just. I'm not
went up to a
saying
hotel, broke down a window,
that's super crazy.
and just unloaded into a concert. Yeah. No,
The
it's
planning,
it's
like crazy.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
one thing
it's
is
it's
stopping
it's
it, but when it
ridiculous.
goes down too, right?
Mhm.
Dude. I saw this one. I seen this one thing on the news where that kid, dude, that kid in the recent one, right? She
Uvalde.
bas yeah, she basically took her classmate's blood
Yeah.
and wiped it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And wiped it on her and pretend
Yeah.
she
To
pretended.
pretend
Like
that
that
she,
is
yeah,
so sad. When I heard that completely broke my heart. I was just like, dude, I don't.
yeah, and then she was actually in front of Congress the other day making a statement. So
That shit is so sad. That shit
No,
is so sad.
no fourth grader should have to go through that at all. Period. None.
Man,
right. I mean, we know that,
I know.
but one side, has no
so heartbreaking.
solution. The other side, their solution is
More
doors or
justice.
more guns,
Yeah.
right? So you have like Democrats who aren't even going to move anything because they're like, well, it's futile. And then you have another side who's blaming everything but the gun. And so nothing's ever gonna change, right? If everyone's like, it's mental issues, these people have mental issues, okay, then fund mental health. Just do it. We do have a mental health issue in America. It doesn't really lead to mass shootings because actually mass shooters don't have mental illnesses, right? They don't have traditional mental illnesses. Most of the time, people with actual diagnosed mental illnesses do not hurt other people. They tend to hurt themselves, or they tend to hurt like friends and like people close to them. They don't really do the mass shooting stuff. The people who do mass shooting stuff, they're actually bad people. For whatever reason, they're not actually crazy in that traditional sense. But if you really think that's the issue, then fund it, do it. You know, Texas, I believe, like a couple days before the Uvalde shooting, I think they pulled funding for their mental health services. It was like $200 million, and they cut it. So, you know, if you want to keep saying it's mental health issues, then fix it. Do something about it. Put your money where your mouth is. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to help mitigate gun shootings because, like I said, it's not the crazies that are doing it. They're not the ones doing the mass shootings.
Yeah, it's these folks that have hate in their heart. They just want to, unfortunately,
For whatever reason, yeah.
for what they always end up, taking their own lives too. Lily and
See, that's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing about a lot of these shooters. If you're gonna go into, if they're gonna, so they go into these places, right? And they're saying, like a school isn't hardened because there's not enough people with guns there. That it's an easy target. We need to make it a hard target, not a soft target, right? I mean, there is a little bit of truth to that, but at the same time, it's not like it's really going to deter these people, right? Because they're not looking to get out of it alive. They know going into it most of the time, they know that they're probably going to die.
Yeah,
because look at all the people.
Weird cause in their head of like.
Yeah, if you look at a majority of these shooters, they take their own lives.
Yep.
They're ready to go. So having more guns in a school isn't really going to deter them.
Lilyland was saying, do you think females can access mental health support compared to males? Absolutely.
In America, it's equally bad for both. It doesn't really matter in America.
I mean, if we're talking about support for, you gotta, there's great people that's in this field that can, that you could access. I'm pretty sure it's better in places, where healthcare, like in Canada, which it's taken care of by the government. But take advantage of that. Like I've always said, like you should go and talk to somebody, whether it's regarding your physical health or your mental
health.
So oh, and Lily was just saying, I believe she's in Canada. Yes, in Canada we do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So use that. And I'll tell you this: if we had that here in America, a lot of people would be at the hospitals or not hospitals, clinics or whatever. Mm-hmm. Also trying to better themselves too, right? Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. That's the thing about Canada, right? The way that medicine has to be rationed, right? I mean, it does, but the thing about Canada is that it's rationed by need, whereas in America it's rationed by access, money, right? I mean, if you think about it like that, okay, we have an amazing healthcare system if you have the money for it, right? But most people don't. So in terms of like talking about access to mental health care and stuff like that, yeah, if you have money for it, then yeah, you can have it. Whereas, in other countries like a Canada or a UK or, Europe in general, they have better access to stuff like that. America doesn't. So, but that's also, again, like I said, that's not the reason why, people are shooters. Other countries have, similar amounts of mental health issues.
No, see, yeah, just like what you said, it's these people that have hate in their heart that want to, you know what I mean, just do harm on a group of people that just happen to be in very public place.
Sure.
And not only that, but there's usually an event, just like you talked about Vegas, and I also thought about that one overseas where I believe the person took out an island, right? Was it an island where like he shot up an entire?
Are you talking about Anders Breivik? the like Norway or Finland or something like
Right?
that.
Yeah.
So he took out an island full of kids, but that was like that was the one mass shooting that other countries experience once every 10, 20 years. So yeah,
That's
that
what
one
I'm
I
saying.
think.
Once every 10, 20 years.
Yeah, something like that. Right. I think it was one of the Scandinavian countries. I don't remember what it was. A bunch of kids were on a field trip on an island, and this guy went there with his assault rifle and killed like 20 or 30 kids or something like that. It was a pretty high number. I think it might have been approaching like 40 people in general. A majority of them children, I think.
It's like in GI Joe. It's like Cobra. People being born into Cobra, right?
Yep.
It's like you get what I'm trying to how I'm trying to connect it. You get it right, Jay. So I'm just saying, like these people, it's crazy. It's American terrorism. It's domestic terrorism. It's all that stuff, right? It's a ruthless terrorist organization.
Yeah.
Designed to rule the world or something like that.
Designed to rule the world. Yeah.
Oh yeah. One thing. Off topic. You know how G.I. Joe was banned from YouTube?
Yeah.
So I guess Hasbro made their own G.I. Joe channel on YouTube. It was just hella funny because I found out this week. I was like, oh.
Me and Damien actually watch it. That and Transformers the movie calms him down. So he'll just watch that and be like, what am I watching here? There's a lot of pew, 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 sounds like that, right? So it stimulates, or it actually calms him down.
Actually, just like, instead of waiting for each episode to show up, like just watching the entirety of the birth of Serpentor was actually pretty cool with no interruptions whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing stuff. Wait, let's nerd out real quick since we've been getting serious, and we'll touch on some of the. I see some questions going on too, so we'll hit that up. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really look at how sophisticated G.I. Joe was as a cartoon, and you watch it now as an adult, it's like these people are doing dastardly, really, truly horrific things. So
but the thing about G.I. Joe is that it's super over the top, right? Whereas the terrorism that's happening here is usually one guy getting mad about something, taking a gun that he bought that day, and going to a school, right? It's that simple. It's not over the top. It's not a terrorist organization to rule the world. It's nothing as grand and outlandish as that. It's as simple as one dude buying a gun in the morning and going to a school in the afternoon.
And not only that, but how hard would that?
It's worse.
How hard would that have to be to, let's say all these mass shooter types. Let's just say they lived. Let's say none of this was going on right now, right? Let's say all these guys that just let's rewind it back 3 years ago or 2 years ago or however, where all these people are alive, right? What if there was some evil person out there that said, you know what, let me get all these guys that are checking out all this information. He might have access to what they look at. Imagine if this person
okay,
recruited all these guys into a terrorist organization designed to rule the world. You know what I mean?
Sure, like the Riddler.
Oh, and by the way, Cobra Commander in the comic books, right? Because there's a comic book, storyline, and there's also a cartoon storyline. But in the original Marvel comics, G.I. Joe, he started off as a salesman, a car salesman. You know what I mean? So for this person to be a good bullshitter, right? Because you gotta know how to bullshit to sell a car. Rose the ranks of like, hey, let's start a terrorist organization designed to rule the world. What's up, David? What's up, Charlene? So, yeah. By the way, who's your favorite Cobra member, Ninja? I know we always talk about G.I. Joe, but what about Cobra? Who's your favorite?
Haven't we talked about this? I thought we talked about this.
I don't remember your take on the
I don't know
villains.
I don't know if I ever brought it up.
I remember you saying quick kick. You
Quick
enjoy
Kick was my favorite GI Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always
you
got to
enjoy
bring up
yourself
Quick
some. Yes,
Yeah, I'm gonna say Serpentor. I'm gonna go right to Serpentor.
it's pretty awesome, right? To be
His
made
costume
from.
was so gaudy that it's so like
It was a jumpsuit, right? It was a one piece.
it was
was
a
a
one
onesie.
piece gold jumpsuit with like a certain serpent cobra head or whatever. I imagine that's
Yes.
kind of what Trump would wear if he was to be a Cobra bad guy. Like it's
Dude,
so gaudy and
imagine
so
that.
like I feel like it would fit someone like him.
Wait, he might want to wear it, but I don't think he would be what's that? Good for that role.
Worthy.
Yeah. I mean, because think about it, Serpentor was made from the DNA of
All
most
the bad guys in the
the most horrible
Yeah.
men in the history, right? So
Yeah, but it turns out that a combination of all the bad people in the world, when you combine their DNAs together, they're just a little bitch. That's why Trump
Because-
works. Just a little bitch.
Serpentor?
Remember,
I don't think
Serpentor has a little bit of Sergeant Slaughter in him, so
Yeah, he's willing to fight at least. Cobra Commander is never. I've never seen.
Cobra Commander is not. Yeah,
Yeah, he's not willing to fight. At least
yeah.
with the.
He is more outwardly a little bitch. I think Serpentor is just insecure and has this bravado of I'm the best in the world, and I have to prove it to everybody.
Who would you cast as Serpentor? I was gonna say Jason Momoa. As shaved. You know what I mean? He's all shaved.
I
And all.
was gonna say Jason Statham. I was
As
gonna say Jason
Serpentor?
Statham as Serpentor.
Maybe Tom Hardy, right? Like a big dude. I'm just saying, like a big dude.
Yeah, but I feel like he'd be too intense. It has to be someone that's intense but also kind of silly.
and pompous.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think Tom Hardy's a little he I feel like all his characters have a little like when he plays like bad guy type people has a very intense like character to them that isn't funny like or over the top. I feel like Serpentor's a little over the top.
You know what I noticed about Tom Hardy? He's usually masked up. You can't see his freaking face. He has on a mustache. He's always doing. He's very much a character actor, right?
Yeah.
Like he always has something going on to where it's like, right, you're Bane or you're Mad Max with a dog collar on your face, or
He
you're
could be Deathstroke.
Venom. Oh,
No,
that'd be
he's
excellent.
definitely a good Destro. Yeah, I feel like he'd
Tom
definitely
Hardy.
be a better
Oh, that would
Destro.
actually be awesome.
You know who I would cast as Serpentor?
So,
Chris Hemsworth. With Thor's
that'd be pretty good, actually.
with Thor's when the first Thor movie when he was hella pompous, like that type
Yeah.
of character, but he's like a
That's
Where-
actually
where
pretty
he-
good.
He has where he demands unearned respect.
Yeah.
I see that. I see that. Yeah. And he is a big dude. That makes sense.
That's
and
hilarious.
then Ryan Gosling as Duke,
Ryan
The
Gosling.
Goss
the Goss,
as
And then-
Duke.
and then Flint would be We can't use Channing because he's already been used. That's why we can't use Channing Tatum.
Oh, why not?
No,
I mean, if we're just gonna remake a movie, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind.
yeah, but
bringing him back.
they killed him off.
I think
It's
he-
kind of messed up.
Yeah, I think they killed him off hella shitty too. It's hella lame.
You know, what's his name from Ant-Man? Luis,
What? Paul Rudd? Oh, Louise? Yeah.
right? I would cast him as a Bazooka.
Bazooka? Oh, I thought you were gonna say sewer rat or something. It's like,
I would cast him,
He would be
Right?
He would be good. So yeah,
right?
So
As a
right,
Mustang.
Yeah. He already has it.
yeah.
He already has it. I would. There you go. So it'd be the Goss, Duke, and then Flint would be the Ephron.
Oh, you're
The
you're
what?
going total
It's-
sexy guys,
yeah,
right?
Zac Efron
As Duke?
as Flint.
Flint.
Oh, it's Flint. I would think it would be. What didn't Flint or Duke have a younger brother?
Or Duke Falcon.
Falcon.
Falcon, right?
That was
Yeah,
played
he
by
was
the
in
great
movie.
Don Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like Zac Efron should be that guy. Should be Falcon. I think that would make sense.
Those are actually pretty
Yeah.
good casting.
Or
I would like Luis as Bazooka, right?
That
And
would
maybe
that would work.
and maybe somebody else to, who I don't know who would play his straight man. You know what I mean? Because Alpine usually played the more serious one, right?
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like a Don Cheadle type person. Not necessarily Don Cheadle, but someone like
okay.
him, right?
Okay, I actually
Someone
like that
him.
because
I feel like would
he
work.
does have a group setting experience in Avengers, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Actually, all his shows are pretty much group setting Avenger type people, where like
Sure.
all
Sure.
his shows, right? It's usually a cast of
Mhm.
of folk, right? So
Yeah, ensemble.
yeah, Boogie Nights all the way till now. Like what a great career. Shout out to Don Cheadle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great career, great actor too, right? Even from early on, already in the early 2000s or whenever he was putting in that work, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
he played the GOAT, Earl Manigault, right? That was one of his first movies, an independent movie. Great story about basketball. You know what I mean? And did all types of movies. You feel me? I think my favorite Don Cheadle movie though is usually Marvel stuff. Because I actually did,
Ocean's 11.
Oh, okay.
His
Yeah.
shitty British
yeah.
accent is amazing.
It is a bad accent.
It's so bad. And I think his name was Basher?
Yeah,
Basha. The shitty British accent is amazing in there. That's why that will always be my favorite.
Yeah, I was trying to think right now. What's my favorite Don Cheadle movie that's not a Marvel movie? Without looking at the internet, trying to think in my head, the Rolodex in my head.
I mean, I already said Ocean's 11.
That's a great one. Well, for me, it has to be Boogie Nights then, because I just love that movie.
It is a good movie.
And he also had the best ending out of everyone's ending in that movie.
True.
Spoiler alert. Sorry.
He's the one that didn't fall from grace, I guess.
In a sense, right?
Yeah. Everyone else was kind of tragic, I suppose.
But he's done a bunch of serious stuff. Oh, he was great in Rush Hour. Remember?
Oh, number 2.
Was he in Rush Hour?
Yeah.
Number 2, the second one.
Him and Jackie Chan. they learned they had the same style.
They're fighting
that is hilarious. Yeah. Where'd you learn that? Right? And he goes, "Oh, my uncle. Yeah, my master or something." And he goes, "Oh, Freddie? Oh no, his brother." Something like that.
Yeah, it was hella funny.
No, he's all right. He was like, Don Cheadle's just like, all right, cool.
And
you
then
know what I mean?
And then they were talking, and then they were talking shit about.
Was he appropriating there? Was he cultural appropriating when he was dressed and he was going like this? No, you could take that somewhere else, brother. Like he was, you know what I mean? Talking with one hand behind his back. You know what I mean? He had on the glasses too, right? Oh my god! Just saying. God, yeah, I'm trying to think of some other movies. Oh, was he in Crash? Was he in Crash?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Right.
The racism movie. Yeah, the movie that apparently everyone was like, that won an Academy Award. This is probably the shittiest movie to ever have won an Academy Award.
For me, I was gonna say Swordfish.
It's a fun
Why
movie.
is it why is it we only I only know that movie because of one thing, right?
Yeah, I know. It's weird, huh?
And I remember I think it was Steve or somebody bought it for me on DVD. And I was just like, all right, thank you. But I don't know if the movie is memorable. You only know that one scene. Like I don't know if it's actually a good
No,
movie or
no, the entire movie is pretty bad. It's a pretty bad
sucks,
movie.
right?
Yeah, it. I don't even think it rises to like, because it's about a hacker, right? And
Yeah.
honestly, I'd rather watch Hackers than Swordfish. If you want
That's
to
a
watch
good
a movie
movie,
about
actually.
a bunch
Hackers
of people
is
who
a
are
great
hacking,
movie.
in terms of like
It's Angelina
hacking,
Jolie at her
yeah,
on her rise, which is awesome, right?
Yeah,
You get to see a
yeah.
young Angelina, right?
yeah,
With the pixie
early,
cut,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I don't know if I was a fan of the pixie cut.
Pixie cut. She also had like 20 extra pounds on her. She had the baby fat still, you know?
Yeah. Pre-Gia, right?
Yeah. Pre Billy Bob.
Oh, yes. Dude, every time I think of Billy Bob, I think about him boning Holly Berry in Monsters Ball.
Monsters
How
Ball.
you gotta see his balls. It's like, oh, dude, was that his balls? Like, ugh. I don't know how you fake that. If they're saying they faked it, I don't think so. That's crazy.
I mean, they do have prosthetics, right? They do have prosthetics for stuff like that.
Just saying, they had.
But his balls
His
were
balls.
hanging.
Yeah, his balls were like. It's Billy
Yeah,
Bob.
truck nuts, dude. It's like truck nuts.
Billy Bob. He was known as being a better director than a better actor, correct? Am I correct?
Was he? What else? I mean, I don't. How much stuff did like Sling Blade, right? Did he directed that, right?
I believe so.
I'm trying to remember
Is
what
that-
else he's directed, but he hasn't.
that
really
how
done
he got-
a lot, I think.
Got his foot in the door. That's how he got his foot in the door.
I think.
No,
I think he got big because of Sling Blade. I believe. Like,
he was actually in Blood In, Blood Out too. Actually,
Was he?
Yeah, or either that or American Me. I know one of those two.
but yeah, he didn't get
Bautista.
famous until Sling Blade, I think. Like, I didn't know who he was until that.
And him and Angelina would exchange blood. Remember?
Yeah,
That was the thing.
they had no. They wore necklaces with a vial of each other's blood in there.
That's so cool, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's trying too hard to be edgy and cool.
And then after that, or remember, then she was like making out with her brother, right? Remember that era?
That was yeah.
It's kind of awesome.
That's that's basically Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver right there.
Hey, shout out to her though. She got in Eternals, right? She's a one of the strongest Marvel characters ever.
True.
Correct. Shout out to. Well, along with the entire cast of Eternals, they're all strong as shit.
Pretty strong, yeah.
Right. So shout out to them. Yeah, episode 149 of the Hub. 408. Thanks for watching us. Go ahead and comment down below, and we'll put your comments up on the screen here. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for watching us. If you happen to be watching us on Kumu, Twitch, Facebook, yada yadas, thank yous. Are you guys caught? We're about almost an hour in. Are you guys caught up on Obi-Wan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that episode real quick, and then maybe did you guys watch Miss Marvel also?
Mhm.
Jason, you didn't see it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and check that out, Jason. But yeah, let's we could talk about Obi-Wan. I was gonna say, what you guys think about this episode? He kind of got his mojo back, correct?
Yeah, he started to definitely started to work his powers a little bit more, getting back in touch with the Force after kind of fucking it up last week. He kind of started feeling it this week, so that's pretty good.
I don't remember this episode like scene by scene on this particular one, but I just know the iconic moment for me wasn't really that big, but it was just, oh, that's kind of cool. Is when he appeared out of the dark. All of a sudden, you see a blade come out.
When he was taking out the 2 stormtroopers, yeah,
right.
That was pretty cool. Yeah,
and then I was like, okay, here we go. So you see a little bit of he's over here playing a stickball.
He's Batman. Yeah, he's like Batman.
He's playing stickball with the lasers, just throwing it back at you.
Yeah.
Some easy remedial Jedi moves, right? Let me get back in the swing of things, right? And let me not go too crazy dude, because remember in episode 3, this guy was remember that one scene where they're like both where they're both on that little thing in the lava and they're literally this close to each other, just swinging their blades at each other in a circle. You know what I mean? He's not at that level yet. I don't know if he'll ever be at that level again, but he's.
I don't think he will, because I believe in the later episodes he tones down his flashiness and he becomes more economical with his fight style.
Almost kind of like I'm not trying to do too many moves, but I'm going to use my
very
best.
Efficient.
Almost kind of like a samurai, right?
Yeah,
almost like a samurai. It's just I'm not trying to be. Like, again, in episode 3, these guys are going nuts. I love how, you could go online, you could watch the fights piece together correctly without having to watch all the other stuff in between. You know what I mean? But it's not, just like what you said, Ninja. These guys aren't going, like, super wild with it. It's very efficient. I don't think we'll ever see crazy... I don't think you'll see that, like how remember when Yoda first unleashed and all of a sudden he's just jumping around doing a whole you know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous having Yoda do that.
Right? You either hated it or you loved it, right? But then I was just
like it made no sense to me.
I was just like, what? Like it was.
And then he force grabbed his cane and started limping again.
It's so dumb.
And the fact that he almost beat Palpatine. Right?
Yeah. No, I can believe that. Like, he's supposed to be strong in the Force, right? I get that. I'm just like, well, if you're that strong in the Force, you kind of don't need a lightsaber at a certain point, From what I read before, if you're that strong in the Force, you don't really need a lightsaber anymore. Because those are for, like, Jedi Knights. He's a Jedi. He's like a above a Jedi Master. He's Jedi Council. He's supposed to be the best of the best of the best.
They should do a young Yoda. They should do a young Yoda series about how he became a Jedi. You know what I mean? Going into the council, a young 400. I don't know how old he would have been. 700 years old.
Probably like 200 or 400 years old. Yeah,
something like that, right? Where he's not like an old man yet. He is a formidable.
Yeah, he's in his prime at 400 years old. Yeah.
Would you watch that? You wouldn't watch that. You wouldn't want that.
I don't know if I don't know if I'd want it. I'd watch it. I don't know if I'd want it though.
Jason, would you want that or would you watch that?
The what again?
If you got a young Yoda, he's like a young Yoda, like how Obi-Wan was in episode 1. What if you got a Yoda in that? Of like, okay, I'm a Padawan. You know what I mean? Trying to become a master. Maybe get on the council one day.
No.
You wouldn't watch that?
No.
No, because I think the person we would get is like a horny little green pervert.
It'd be CW.
Yeah, on the CW.
But then again, I just thought about it right now. I think the reason that wouldn't work also is because he was always mysterious, and that's the cool fact about him, right? You just know that he was an old dude. He's the most powerful, and there's just nothing you could do about that, right?
But here's the thing, right? Like people, I don't know why. I guess people enjoy it, but people want to know the history behind the mysterious character. For the longest time, I didn't give a shit about Wolverine's origin story. I liked the fact that he was shrouded in mystery. Then they explained it, and I was like, oh, it's just not that interesting. I
like the mystery of like, oh, these are memory implants, or oh, is Sabretooth his dad or his brother, you know, or
somebody. You just don't know. Exactly.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah. Or the Joker, right? If you try to explain the Joker's origin, it takes away from the character. Part of it is the mystique of not knowing his backstory, you know. And if you don't know their backstory, there's no real. You don't know how to reason with them, you know. Especially with like a Joker, he's insanely crazy, but you don't know what buttons to push because you don't know what his backstory is.
What's crazy about that is too, like I just read recently that they made Killing Joke pretty much his official origin, you know, of who he is, and that's what I mean by sometimes you like the mystique of who is this guy. Sometimes people have their own iteration of like, okay, this is his origin. I know somebody else had changed it in the mid 2000s or wherever, where they kind of changed the, you know, or try to tell a story of who he is, how he became here. More so, I think he was using maybe the Lazarus Pit, right? It was a story where
something like that. There was a story about that, where he
was just an old man, right? Yeah, and he just kept living throughout all these years, you know, all that stuff. But I love the Killing Joke, right? It's one of my favorite Batman stories of all time because I grew up with that book coming out. You know, and loving it in that type of way. But even back then, they said, "Hey, this might not be his story. You know, this is completely separate from what's going on." And that was the one thing about DC back then too. They were at the time exploring with, "Hey, it wasn't called Elseworlds stories yet, but that's where they were going. Where hey, this isn't part of the timeline." You know, so for them to make it. Now it kind of destroys the fact of like who is this dude, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. What's up to Jedar Ball? I hope I said that right. Catherine Bautista also. I don't know if you guys are still here, but thank you guys for joining us. This is far away, but yeah, we're talking about Obi-Wan. Maybe I should have put that in the comments here. But yeah, What were some other standout moments for you guys in this episode?
The one part where they're in the hangar and they're escaping with Leia underneath the trench coat was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, how do you not notice that?
How do you not notice that? I know the alarms are going off. I know people are like, oh my god, what's happening? You know, it's chaotic and all that. But like, bro, you have like two extra sets of legs underneath your trench coat. Like, what? What is that?
And not only that, but the costume, right? He puts on the
actual costume. He puts on he puts on the hat and the jacket. Yeah, that's it.
Dude, that is.
Yeah, he looks like a bum.
Dude, wouldn't that be the best Star Wars cosplay ever? You just have a little kid in your jacket, a trench coat, and all you need is that hat.
The hat, yeah, and
a beard.
Yeah,
it's the other thing too. Amazing costume, dude.
Here's the other thing.
As soon as it was going down, I was like, you know what? Star Wars is known for. I'm gonna take your costume, wear it, maybe to sell more toys, right? Truthfully, right? Because I bought every stormtrooper that had a Luke or a Han Solo head. I'm just saying, Star Wars has been about mixed matching of disguises.
Sure.
In my head, I was just like, isn't this the funniest disguise? He has on a pervert trench coat, right? he has a commanding officer's hat. Who I've never noticed. I've always hated that uniform. Maybe as a kid, like look at these doofuses. But in this moment, I was like, dude, I need that hat. That's a fire ass hat. You know what I mean? Like I need that. I need that for the drip because that would be the most funniest thing to go. And I bet you somebody will do it. I'm just saying.
No, 100%. So that is a costume right now. Yeah, with their kid. Yeah. 100%. Yep.
You just have Leia. You know,
It's
you
happening.
have a Leia.
Yeah, well, you have like your daughter or your son play Leia or something, and then you just that's the costume.
Oh, by the way, this is something else I noticed about this version of Obi-Wan. You know how like we were so used to seeing Jedis back in the day in all their regala, right? So you get a more tattered down version of Obi-Wan in this one. I love how he's not wearing the Jedi boots, the standard official Jedi boots that they would wear back in the day. He's wearing like
the fuck me boots, the knee high
FMBs. Yeah, he's not wearing FMBs. He's wearing like more like a tactical type shoe.
Sensible
shoes, sensible
like boots. Like sensible boots.
Cross training type shoe. I don't know. Like it goes up to his ankle, you know, in like wrestling boot terms. You know, it's the short ones. It's not the long ones. It's the short ones. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like his look. He looks cool.
I also want to comment on that cosplay. If you know, I believe because it's like because they're military, right? Yes. They don't have beards. They don't have mustaches.
Yeah, so he's only
and Obi-Wan is walking through the hangar with a hat, a beard, trench coat, and Leia.
Yeah.
Just walking by him, and I'm just like, well, like throughout the entire episode, throughout the entire episode, I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. Oh, look, it's Ice Cube Jr. Awesome, you know, cool.
Shout out to him, yes.
Shout out. But I feel like his term was kind of silly because he's like, he can't be here. He's gonna blow our entire operation. You're going to go to the Fortress Inquisitorius? I'm in. I'm like, what? Why did you throw in so fast?
I like how he's in here, though. I like how he's in
here. I'm fine with him, but I feel like we can't have him here to I hate the Empire to let's fly into the Inquisitor's fortress. Let's do it. It was such a weird arc, I guess you could say. Like it moved really quickly. I thought so.
I was just thinking about something right now because we're talking about how this one, you know, like they have certain actors that come on these shows and do a little something, right? And
the girl, what's her name? The one who flew the speeder. That's Maya Erskine. She's in that show Pen 15 on Hulu.
Yep, I know that show.
She's a comedian. Yeah, that's at first I was like, she looked really familiar, and looked her up. It's like, oh yeah, it is Maya Erskine.
Well, we didn't. I didn't get to bring this up on episode 1 when we had talked about it, but one of the opening scenes, kind of like, hey, that's what's his name? One of the eldest of the Bosco brothers.
Derek.
Oh yeah.
Derek.
Yeah, the shop owner or the restaurant owner guy. Yeah.
And all he did, he was great for him, right? That's awesome that he got in that. But he was the most scared. This guy was so scared of what was about to happen. Like for somebody to play fear, also is it's tough, right? Mm-hmm. It's tough. So for him to show like, oh my God, like I do not want to die, you know, the I don't want to die face, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, very cool. But yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I liked how he didn't talk about it. Also, he wasn't out here, but he was just like everyone reacted on some like, oh shit, look at the homie, you know what I mean? You know, he's in the show. You know, of course, you get folks like, oh well, cool, Filipinos exist in Star Wars. I'm like, well, I don't think. Yeah. But I was like, I don't think they'd be called Filipino. You know what I mean?
What planet are these guys from?
Yeah, I don't I don't know. I don't know if
Are they from Takodana?
I don't know if Tagalog would still be a current culture or language. I probably wouldn't. I would probably be Filipino and not even know it, or maybe like how if I were to take a DNA test right now, or what's that? Those geology
23andMe?
tests or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you're 20% this, you're 10% that, you're 5%
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
Maybe me, I could look like me, maybe in the future, but I could only be like, oh, I'm only 20% Filipino, whatever the heck
Yeah.
that is. You know what I
And
mean?
you're
I don't
like
know what it is.
and you're like 25% Dagobah,
Yes.
whatever the fuck that, or 30% Bespin or whatever. I don't know.
I would like.
we know Mongolian people are in Star Wars. I guess
Yes.
if you listen to the Who, the Mongolian metal band, they were in the Fallen Order, the Jedi Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video game.
Yeah.
They exist apparently, that band. Which is honestly kind of cool. You don't really hear too much about Mongolian throat singers
Nope.
in anything, let alone Mongolian metal throat singers. So
What were some other standout moments from this last episode? Just to kind of wrap it up, I guess.
yeah, just seeing Obi-Wan doing his thing, the part where he's holding the water back
Yeah.
in that tunnel was actually kind of cool. While he's holding it back and deflecting the shots, because he was still getting shot by stormtroopers on the other side, and that was pretty cool. I mean, there's some really cool little moments here and there. I think most of the stuff regarding the fortress was kind of silly, though. Sneaking into the fortress, like parts of it is filled with people, and then there's huge parts of the place that's empty. I'm like, what's the point? What's the point of the fortress? Why is everybody in the hangar but no one in the hallways? I don't get that.
I did read it was pretty much A New Hope. This episode was patterned after him doing the same old stuff of sneaking into somewhere.
The Death Star, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Of sneaking into somewhere, and I believe they the one Easter egg I had found out. I think in the video games, Jason might know this, where I think in the video games, one of the missions was where you swim up a tunnel. I just forget what Star Wars game it is. But it's like, they had talked about how they paid homage to that, to where...
Yeah. The fortress is in Fallen Order. The fortress?
Yeah.
That too, right. Yes. I mean, there's all kinds of really cool stuff. And, they talked about also like some character that was either in the comics or... in animation, there happened to be in this episode.
Yeah. One of the dead Jedis that he sees, he was in Clone Wars. It was the very first one that he comes across. He's an alien-looking one with like what looks like long sideburn kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like an old man basically, but he's an alien. He was in Clone Wars. I don't remember his name. It's like Ted Sanoob or some shit like that. Tib Sanoob something. I can't remember his name. But yeah, he was a Clone Wars guy. That's why it lingered on him for a while. Because he's supposed to be a callback to that guy, but he was apparently only in one episode. So, and he was a focus in one episode, and he was background in like subsequent episodes.
Also, the Vader scene where he force chokes the third sister, right, Reva.
Yeah.
Very cool, but then also he does a very Sith-like thing. That's almost like Emperor Palpatine, but with like, yes, you are smart. Like I'm hurting you right now, but yes, I didn't doubt you for a second, type, or you continue to impress me. You know what I mean? It's a very Sith-like thing to do.
Well,
where it's like,
he goes from
he
you failed me to wow, that's pretty smart. I'm like.
You know who has the right to be
That's so
pissed?
weird.
Whoever
Sun
the
Kang?
other guy is. Yes.
Fifth brother. Yeah.
Han,
Yes.
Han should be
Han.
pissed.
Han should be pissed.
I mean,
He should
I'd
be
like to-
pissed. First
I'd
of all,
like to
he's
see more of
wearing.
him. I'd like to see more of him because
Yeah.
he looks intimidating.
He
He
does.
looks
But
like
he doesn't-
he's the one that should be running the show. I'm just.
I like the
saying.
fact that they modulate his voice too when he talks. Like they add like bass to that, which is really cool.
Mhm.
But he
Mhm.
should be pissed. I mean, he is wearing a rice patty hat, right? Like what is
Looks
that?
awesome, by the way.
Or
like
or
that?
you could also
He looks
or you could
awesome.
also say he's wearing a black version of what the younglings wear. You know the Jedi younglings. It's kind of like that, but you know the black version of it. I'm like,
That-
Whoever
That's
designed
actually-
that character, I love his look.
he does look
I love
really.
his
He
look.
does look cool. He kind of reminds me of like a Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat or something like that. You know, it is cool. I just think it is kind of funny that they give the Asian guy the the rice
weird
patty
gr-
hat.
And also the weird skin tone, right? Like, oh man, you need
Yeah, what's up with him? Like,
yeah,
how long underground did you live for
yeah,
before you
exactly.
came up? You know,
No
to the
sun at
surface?
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just stayed that way. Like, oh man, my skin's
Right.
just like this.
Like, did you have jaundice and it just kind of never went away? Is your like, what is
I
this?
think that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's something with these Inquisitors, right? Because the Grand Inquisitor was super pale as well, so it's like
Yes.
maybe they're aliens, and I really don't know. I don't really watch a lot of the Clone Wars stuff, so
I think it's when you have your limbs cut off. We're in a state of dying. I mean, look at Vader's skin. You know, and, well, he was burned though. I mean,
yeah.
he was burned. But I think if you're decomposing, you have that
Mm.
skin. I mean,
Oh,
look at
you know what? You know, the
Palpatine.
Emperor is like that too. Yeah, actually, no, you're right. I believe that because that is supposed to be a part of a Dark Force user, is that you are corrupt on the outside as well as the inside. Like it does corrupt you, supposedly. So that's why Emperor Palpatine looked like he was 1,000 years old when he wasn't really that old. And yeah, I guess that's kind of why Anakin looks all jacked up. I mean, yeah, he was burned up and stuff like that, but that's why he's super pale and he looks
You know what?
shitty. Yeah.
In all regard, the Emperor is probably the most laziest designed, greatest villain of all time. Let's just make him an old, ugly guy and put a robe on him.
Old ugly white guy. I mean, someone was definitely trying to make a statement there, right? Like can we agree? The bad guy in the movie is an old, ugly white dude. Hmm?
But back then, also, you didn't know if he was a man or not,
Yeah.
right? So I love that how he could have been an alien, he could have been a monster, whatever he was,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So shout out to Ian. What's his name? Sir Ian something.
Ian McDermott, right?
Ian McDermott. There you go.
Yeah.
One of the greatest voice. You know, do it. You know, you've done the Emperor's voice at one point
Yeah.
in your life. You know, more
Feel
power.
the hate
Yeah.
flow through you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole
Yeah, you know,
just kind of that oily, kind of like sleazy.
sleazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see him in Obi-Wan, but I'm just saying, it's kind of cool though how you know he's around.
Yeah.
You know the big bad's around, but you don't necessarily have to see it. You know,
Mm.
probably the stories focus in here to where other
Yeah.
characters don't need to be involved.
Right. It's not about him. It's about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, right? That's really what the story is about. So their relationship. I think it's supposed to provide a little bit of closure to the Clone Wars, I guess.
Mhm. But also, like, there could be possibilities of him interacting with established characters that we might know, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that haven't been done yet, or you don't see him on screen. Like, I was like, what if Obi-Wan met a young Lando? not a young
Yeah.
Lando, but maybe a Lando of age, whatever Lando that just somewhere, I don't, or I don't
I think that'd be kind of weird because
know, right? How would they come across each other too, right?
maybe I feel like a little too much callbacks to references are a little. It's a little too much. I feel. But
Yeah,
if they were to run into like Cal from Fallen Order, right? I think that'd be kind of interesting. I think that would be interesting and that would
Yeah, that'd
work.
be hella cool.
That would be kind of fun, right? Especially since you have the Inquisitors. You know, they're also the bad guys in Fallen Order. So uh, I feel like having them run into Cal would be kind of interesting.
what up to
Yeah.
Jules 0713? How are you? I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for coming through. Hi guys, episode 149. My name is Ron Sara. That's Ninja Iceberg. That's Jay Jericho, aka Best of Three, down there below. We're just talking about Obi-Wan. If you guys want to comment anything about Obi-Wan, go ahead and put it in the comments. We'll post it
Yeah.
up here.
I'm
That's
still
pretty much
I still like
Dave.
Leia. I think Leia is still really cool and really fun.
A lot of people really don't
A
like
lot of
her.
people don't really like her, and I guess
Yeah,
I mean someone was like, if you have kids, you'll understand why we don't like her, and if you don't have kids, you'll probably be like, oh, she's so cool and precocious. I don't have kids, so I don't give a fuck. I think she's a fun character,
in
and
my
really
latest
does show how awesome she is.
viewing of it, I was like, okay, I understand why they wrote this character this way or whatever, right? So when I hear my, I mean, I work at a comic book shop, so someone's gonna bring it up. When it was brought up, everyone just hated that character. They were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, she's so annoying. She's," I was like, "Okay, they probably have kids."
Why?
Or yeah, I don't know, but it's one of those type of like, oh, okay, you don't like small children.
Yeah.
You don't enjoy small
Look,
children.
I don't like small children either, right? Like, I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't. I'm not a children kind of person, Like, but I just think for her age, I think she's a great actress, and
Yeah,
she's portraying
she's
someone
awesome.
who
Yeah, as far as
and again,
of being who
like I
Leia
said,
is, yes,
yeah,
she is that
right.
now. Yes,
And she's supposed to grow up to be Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia. Like, dude, she has to have a little bit of, that spark, right? And again, like I said, in a couple years, not that far off, she's gonna join the Senate, right? I
she's
mean,
definitely blowing
that's how that works.
Wait, hold on. I was gonna structure the sentence crazy. Jake Lloyd has nothing on this kid.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Jake
know what I'm
Lloyd.
saying?
Yeah. No, I agree.
And what's his name? Well, I happen to like him. Boba Fett. Fire! You know what I'm talking about? Fire, Dad! Fire! Like his acting wasn't that great, also, but he made up for it later in the animated stuff, right? Because I believe he continued to play.
Yeah, I think it's
Boba
the same
Fett,
guy. Yeah, same
right?
kid.
In the so he made up for it. But I'm just saying, like, fire! Yeah, Dad, let's go through the asteroid field. Chase Obi-Wan, you know what I mean? Dude, Obi-Wan's the best. I had this even at the comic book shop, right? They're like, "You think Obi-Wan's the best? He sucks." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Dude, he's the best. He's the best Jedi ever." I don't know. I'm just saying, he's the best Jedi ever. The best representation of what a Jedi should be, and all that stuff. I'm not gonna go with just Yoda. Like, oh, Yoda's the best. You know what I mean? Yoda wasn't putting in that work. He wasn't in the gym. He
Well,
wasn't
I mean,
shooting threes with in the gym
end of life
at the
right?
time.
Yeah. Until
You're
we see
men.
400-year-old Yoda, I can't really make that.
Can't wait.
Can't really talk about that. We're talking about end of life Yoda versus,
Oh, I know how you would watch that show, by the way, because you guys were like, "Oh, I don't know if I'd watch that," but I put like a good villain in there, like a Darth Bane or maybe Master Sifo-Dyas.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No,
And-
I mean, I'll watch. Like I said, I'll watch it. It's just I didn't ask for that. You know.
oh, and we could see him and Waddle. Remember Waddle, the other Jedi that was his species that was in the council? It was
The
like
girl Jedi. It's like,
The-
isn't it Yaddle? I thought
yeah,
it was
is it
Yaddle.
Yaddle? I forget what it is. What did I say? Yaddle? Yaddle? I forget.
You said Waddle.
Waddle? Yaddle.
I thought it was Yaddle or something like that.
The
Yaddle.
female Yoda, right?
Yeah, female Yoda person. Yeah.
And there's only like one picture of her. There's like not really any footage.
Yeah.
They didn't even say what they were yet, right? They didn't say.
No,
Their-
they're
their
apparently never
species-
going to name it. Is what
It's like the
George
biggest
Lucas
secret,
said.
right? Yeah, he was like, I'll,
Yeah.
I'll never tell. He probably has
What
something in his
planet
head.
they're from, what species they're from. He's not. He said that they would never come up. They would never reveal that.
That's messed up, right?
Yeah, the one secret that we kind of don't care about, the one mysterious thing that we kind of don't care about.
I'm trying to do.
Because
the
I'd
math.
rather. Because I'd
I'm
rather
trying to do
not-
the math. I'm trying to do the math. If he would be like Grogu's love child. You feel me?
I mean, it's possible.
Like he gave up
What?
Grogu for adoption because he was like, "Oh, I made the one mistake I shouldn't have made." Like what if after the Clone War? What if after
mean, it's
What
possible.
if after Order 66, like he just went, you know what? I'm not gonna be a Jedi no more. I'm just gonna have a family, right?
Yeah. Oh no. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work.
Oh no, because he's still deeply intuned into the,
No.
being a Jedi in the Force.
Because Grogu's 50 years old, and the Clone Wars are
okay.
like 20 years before, or 18.
Oh, he's already.
some odd,
Oh,
yeah.
he's already dead, right? Yeah, he's already dead.
No.
Because when is Mandalorian is post
It's like 9 or
episode-
11 years after
episode
episode
6?
4.
Or
No,
4,
after
yes.
episode 4. Yeah,
Is it?
it's supposed to be like 5 years after. I believe it's supposed to be like 5 years after Return of the Jedi or something like that. Yeah,
Crazy.
but because he's 50 years old and episode 4 happens before, like 10 years before, so you'd have to. It'd be 40. So it'd be 30 years before that. So if he were to have a Grogu, let's say, if Yoda were to have a Grogu, it would be a few years before episode 1 is when he would have had to.
I think he might have gotten busy before he became master.
Maybe.
No, wasn't he already master in episode 1?
Yeah.
Enter you, I will.
No, before that, like before episode 1, he before he took up his main seat and limping cane, he got busy.
Hit you from the back, I shall.
So
Yeah,
so
right.
that means he might have other kids out there.
Yeah.
Like he's like the Nick Cannon of.
He's like he's like the ancient one using the Darkhold. He got busy.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Nick Cannon. He basically announced, "Hey, I'm gonna have more kids this year. 3 more on the way." Like I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." You know, good for you if you want to be a parent, right? I'm all for that. Great.
Yeah.
But if he's
Yeah,
talking
I
about,
guess.
"Hey, guys, I'm putting out a tweet saying 3 more this year,"
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Put in
Nick
that
Cannon,
work.
sir.
Put in
Yeah,
that work.
sir. Okay, you know, like.
Just putting in work.
Strange how by the way, I don't know how. Oh, I do know how I came across it. All of a sudden I fell into a wormhole and it was Nick Cannon in Drumline.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, very good, Nick Cannon. But I don't know if I've ever enjoyed anything Nick Cannon in my life besides Oh, and he also said that he had an outrageous headline this week. It said Nick Cannon says Mariah Carey every time she stepped out the house cost $150,000.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, what kind of disgusting, gross headline of excess? You know what I'm saying? It was like, whoa, look at this headline here. Crazy. Axel, the one is in the house. ¿Cómo está? Ziggy 15, Jamia. I don't know if you guys are here. You guys are probably gone already. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. This is the Hub 408. Thank you guys if you happen to be watching us. Hang out with you guys on a Friday night. You're in the house with me, Ron Sar, Ninja Iceberg, Jay Jericho, aka Best of Three. Hey guys, I was gonna say I know you guys got your Warriors gear on too, real quick. So we'll talk about the game too in a little bit. But yeah, did you want to bring up something else, Ninja? What's up?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Mandalorian's 9 years after the Battle of Yavin, so 9 years after Episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So again, for it to work, that Yoda is Grogu's parent, it has to be somewhere. Logan. It has to be like maybe 10 years before.
Hi, Pang.
Episode 1, something like that.
But I was gonna say, yeah, we got about 30 minutes left. You guys want to talk about this game, real quick? In a series that can go either way, supposedly. Yeah. When it came to experience and using that experience, it showed tonight. But it was a rough start to get there. You know, we'll talk about all kinds of people's takes and all that stuff. I just wanted to bring up real quick, though. I'm enjoying shout out to the homie Andrew Wiggins. This dude is playing what he's supposed to be doing in these last 3 games. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, we could talk about the star players and all that stuff. But, you know, this guy's either playing for a contract, you know what I'm saying? Or he might be on his way out of here, though, too. But I love the effort he's been putting in, is what I'm saying.
He's playing for respect.
Yeah. Dude, it seems like that way.
Bust, right?
Right?
He's supposed to be a bust.
It seems that way, though, Ninja. It seems like he's playing for respect, dude. It seems like, you know, he's trying to go hard. Although I will say, he should be that guy that he happens to be putting up a layup. I get it. You know, he wants to make sure the shot's going in. But if it's an easy layup, I would love to have just seen some intensity of just, let me yak on this real quick. Let me show people my creativity or how I get my emotions out too. But I get it. He is a controlled player. I understand when there's players like, remember how Tim Duncan used to get a bad rap? Oh, you're not an emotional player. You know what I mean? Some guys just play a certain way. And if it's working for, you know, Wiggins right now, I'm all for it. You know, but it seems like he's playing for respect and all that stuff. But, yeah. I mean, what's your guys' takes real quick? Go ahead. Jay, let's start with, or what's up, Jay?
I mean, I didn't get a chance to really catch it, so I don't really have anything to say. I was following the scores, but I didn't really get to watch the game, so I can't really.
So for me, for Wiggs, right? He was never a bust. He just played in a bad organization because he was still putting up 20, 30 points. Like when he was over in Minnesota, even before he started, like, you know, declining, he was putting up at least 22, 23 points a game. Right? He was their lead scorer. But at the same time, it's like he shouldn't have been that way. But he just ended up in a bad situation and a bad organization now that he's in a winning culture. And actually learning from actual players that want to teach, right? Or instead of being in an organization where you don't have many veterans to teach you the correct way. And it's like even though they lost game 3, there was a clip that Bleacher Report put out. I saw it on TV too. Like you can see how upset Iggy was, and he called Andrew over, and he was telling him this and that. It's like you know, that's leadership teaching a younger person to do it the right way.
Yep.
And I think that's the reason why Wiggins has been so successful with the Warriors. because he doesn't have to be that top option.
Yeah, he's
He
their
could be-
fourth option.
He can be. He can either be like if it's just him, Clay, and Steph on the court, he's a third option, and he doesn't really have to do much. But since, getting a taste of what he had last year, being a two-way player that he should have been, that the way I saw him, he should have been when he got into the league, and it's just like, I get to see it in full force now, and it's like, a lot of half of the Minnesota fan base is saying this guy is this guy's a bust, whatever. But the other half is this guy's a good player. They're happy that he's actually in a better system than what Minnesota has back then. I think I think Minnesota's going into the right path finally. Hopefully, they just got to get over that the fact of celebrating before the game's over. That's that's the youth. That's the youth of the team showing. But for Wiggins, it's like the growth and the maturity from being part of that organization into becoming part of the Warriors organization. It's like a complete 360. Like you see the fruits of his labor, the benefits that he's learning from everybody, and now it's showing, especially with this 17 point, 16 rebound game. As a small forward, and he's not as
hub real quick too, Jason.
Yeah.
For a completely different reason, but we're like at one point though, we're like, oh, you don't want to test, you don't want to get the vaccine,
yeah,
you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
They get the fuck out of here. We don't care. So I kind of feel like I kind of own up to that. I did say that earlier this season, but also I forgot about that. Because of the level of play that you are, and I believe Steph and them had told him earlier, it was either before this game or during the last series of, hey, go out there and get a technical, show some emotion, be, fucking go in. This is your moment too. So I love that what Jason said about, Iggy, calling him over, yelling at him, of do things the right way. I read an article also how, a lot of these former Warriors from the championship teams, they still work with the organization. So, one of Jason's favorite champions, we are championship, Barbosa, the homie Barbosa.
That ain't my player. My player is Bogut, man.
No, but shout out to Barbosa.
Mr. Anti-Vaxxer, Andrew Bogut. That's my guy.
Sean Livingston is still there too, I think.
Yeah, is Bogut on the team still, or
no,
the organization? But I'm just saying Barbosa though. He's playing every scrimmage, every practice. He plays with these guys. So these guys that have won we are championship, right? We are. I mean, that's Barbosa's best line, but I love how he's still working with the organization to make sure that these young kids, Poole or whoever else, are getting ready to enter this, and you see it here. Oh, and by the way, too, I was thinking also another thought. I just thought of, we like to slander the white men on the show, the ones that deserve it. By the way, not all white men. I'm just saying, right? But Steve Kerr will turn into the greatest white man to me, personally, right? My greatest white man book, if they happen to pull this off too. It's just like, well, just what a great. Look at all those rings, right? He's like Hal Jordan, right? Yes.
Yeah. Parallax.
Steve Kerr.
Parallax over there.
I've never seen a white man with that many rings. You know what I'm saying? Like that's awesome.
Outside of Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson, Jerry. Right, Jerry West. Yeah, he probably in the later years, right? Like he, being with that organization, he has all these rings. I'm just saying. He put in that work, though, to become a championship caliber player and also a championship caliber coach. A lot of people, of course, debatable, right? Hey, Mark Jackson was here. Things were set in place. Or maybe Luke Walton was the one that got you that great record. You weren't even here, and all that. But all I'm saying is Steve Kerr will be the greatest white man to me. If they win this series. Any other takeaways from this series or this game, Jason? By the way,
I mean,
Steph Curry balled out tonight, right?
no, yeah, he completely balled out.
What,
It's
44
insane.
points or something?
Something
today?
like
Jay, remember the first quarter where he started screaming, where he was like, "Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do tonight."
yeah,
You know what I mean? He had that supreme confidence, and I also had the oh shit, dude. You know, because just the way that the finals have been going on, or the way that Boston's been playing, and they're in a raucous crowd and all that stuff. I'm just saying they could have lost tonight too, but
yeah,
it was
no,
very tight. They
that was
whatever was going on in the last game, they tightened it up to where hey, these guys aren't going to get more than 3 points away from us. We're going to keep it. You know, we're going to try to
Yeah,
lock these guys in. But Steph was just amazing though tonight, Jason.
he dropped 43. So it's just like, he played his ass off with a messed up foot. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
actually the same foot too, which is hella crazy.
There was also another story too, Jason, about they're giving Draymond his props for allowing himself to be taken out at a proper time. You know,
Yeah.
people are commending him for that too. And when they asked Steph about it after the thing, he goes, "Hey, we're a selfless, in not his exact words, but we're like, hey, we do this together. We're a selfless team. It's not about this and that. It's just like, hey, where the chips fall, that's that's how it's going to play out. So it's also good to see this type of chemistry, still there, because
Yeah.
sometimes maybe somebody might feel a certain way some game and then just have a different way of thinking or narrative or whatever, so yeah, crazy.
So I see this series in a different light. Like someone at work asked me like, "Hey, so who's gonna win the series?" And he's like, "I don't care as long as it goes to 7. I want a 7-game classic." But I said, whether we win or lose, we still win. And they go, "How?" I was like, "Well, of course, as a Warrior fan, you want them to win the championship. But if Boston wins, the Lakers lose. So that kind of feels like we won because they go back to second place. They're no longer tied for the championship. So either way, win or lose, we still win because the Lakers go back to second place." Just like, some petty, petty NorCal, SoCal crap. So, it's just
very
funny.
that is very petty.
But it's funny. It's really funny. But, that's, that like I have a different I have a different outlook. I have a different mindset. Like I said before, like I never thought that I would see the Warriors win the championship in my lifetime. But the fact that I got to see 3, I'm good. I don't care if they I really don't care if they win anymore or not. I got to see it. I got to witness, I got to see it. I got to go to the parades. I'm good.
Well, I'm greedy. I don't know if they'll get to 6. Wait, hold on. How you know I'm greedy? Hold on.
No, it's like
I'm just saying I'm greedy.
It's like they already have 6. They're tied with Chicago.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't want them to put their foot off the gas. Keep
going.
Keep your foot on their necks and all that stuff. I do have another take though, real quick. If it happens to go the other way, I got Jaylen Brown as my MVP. He's playing a great series.
Oh no, regardless, he is getting the MVP regardless. Jason Tatum hasn't done shit.
Dude, Jaylen Brown is balling the fuck out. You know what I mean? He's just great. So a great game to see. What's up, Brett? How are you? What's up to RH Factor? How are you, brother? It's awesome though to see a competitive series though. So for Golden State to not let the lead get to 15, like how these guys were fighting back from 15 and then being up 2 and then going down 14 again. It's just like the emotions, right? The emotions and stuff. So but shout out to the Warriors, man. They're using that championship experience to get a big win tonight. They go back to the Bay. They need 2 more, and hopefully we get to claim this championship because Also, I do want to, I think I also want a championship also for, so everyone will. I think the owner of the Warriors, the other day said, "Dude, why are we still questioning? Why are we still questioning Steph?
True.
He
Yeah,
should be He should be celebrated
that's
instead of
pretty.
being
Yeah,
questioned."
that's pretty sad about
Yeah.
that too.
So like that's Jason. That's why I care if they win another one. Just to shut people up. Like, dude, when you watch that game tonight, it's almost like, dude, this is a, yes, it's been said before. This is a generational player. You're not going to see another person like this change the game in a way, change culture in a way. You know, so yeah, it sucks when some of those elder statesmen like Tracy McGrady, I think, was the one that said, "Oh, you don't put him in the same sentences as Michael and Magic and all that stuff." It's like, wait, hold on, Tracy McGrady, shut up though, because look what you've done, right? You couldn't even get out the first round at one point in your life. But I'm just saying, like, he speaks for a narrative that's out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Of, hey, why are we still questioning this guy instead of like, dude, how many years now have we said, like, dude, this is not only the greatest shooter, he could, to some kid out there, they didn't live through the Jordan years, so I respect
Hmm.
if they were to be like, hey, Steph Curry is the best basketball player of my lifetime. If they look at Jordan, if we look at Jordan the way we look at Jordan, to some kid, he looks at Steph
Yeah.
the way, like, dude,
Oh, for sure.
Eh,
They're definitely gonna have that conversation, right? Like some kid is definitely gonna have that conversation. Same thing with like some people going, LeBron's the greatest. Same way people said Kobe's the greatest.
yeah,
You're gonna have these
and
people.
and to me,
Sure.
when you look at, like, it's the eye test. It's not about, it's not about stats. I mean, of course, people are going to put stats in the way, stats championships, but the eye test, what you see on the court, it's crazy because you never see LeBron getting triple teamed and whatnot, and the fact that you're having a guy that's 6'3" as a dangerous shooter, and the fact that most of his points aren't even coming from the threes, he's driving down the lane, doing floaters, layups, getting and ones. A 6'3"
hey,
guy being triple teamed, sometimes bring, like, four guys around him, and he passes the
Yeah.
ball to an open player,
Yeah.
and that's crazy, right? Like
Mhm.
legit, like legitimate. I'm not bullshitting this shit because the Warriors changed the way the NBA is played now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, by the way, real quick, you know how you'd watch Michael Jordan back in the day or Carl Malone back in the day? Be like,
Yeah,
dude, no, wait, hold on. You'd be like, oh, look how fit, toned this dude is. When Steph was screaming, he's fucking buff, dude,
yeah,
huh? His arms are,
Mhm.
he's fucking huge now. He has a better playing body now, right? Than when he first started and all that stuff. Kind of like how when Jordan came back, he had to rebuild his body. Remember how, like, in, the later three championships, you got a muscular, pretty,
he
still
was cut.
198,
Yeah,
but Jordan was ready to play. So, like, I love how Steph, even though, he's gone through all these injuries throughout his life, he's he's out there banging with these dudes. And when he was flexing, I was like, dude, Steph's arms are pretty fucking good looking right now, dude. He's flexing on these dudes. You know what I mean? He had some dagger threes tonight
oh
too.
yeah,
Just like, oh man, Ninja. I know you said you didn't see the game, but he had some really really good shots that you'd be like, oh, like, I love that he would just take an air out the building. So you know what I was saying,
Yeah.
Jason? There were certain
Yeah.
points where he would just take an air out the building. You're like,
you
I
can
wasn't
watch the,
cheering these last couple of games, but I was actually cheering like, all right, let's go. Like, this is it.
they have the highlights up already, Waldo, on YouTube. So you can
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. I was gonna go watch it in a little bit and just watch the highlights, the
I
full
was
It's
game
gonna say,
highlights. Yeah.
you can share the screen real quick. And we could we can check it out
I don't
real
know,
quick.
but like I said, it's like, in a sense, I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I think Steph changed the landscape of the NBA more than LeBron did, completely.
Well, Yeah, no, I agree with you. LeBron basically was your prototypical superstar, right? Like he's basically the same kind of guy that a Kobe was, the same kind of guy that a Jordan was, the singular person on your team that takes over and, has these crazy acrobatic, human defying, moves and stuff like that. And not to say Steph doesn't have that, but he's not built like a LeBron, right? Like obviously not. He's not
I
as
think,
big. He's not
by
as
the way,
strong.
with the Jordan LeBron debates, I still think that Jordan had the better moves with the layups and whatever.
Oh.
LeBron
No,
wasn't really. Well, LeBron's more of a power guy. I don't think I've ever seen LeBron finessing and doing ill ass dunks. He's more like, let me get it through. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the only other thing that I want to say.
LeBron definitely powers through.
Yeah,
but then,
sorry to cut you off.
Let me see. Where's that?
But no, I agree with you. Steph with his skills and with the right, system, basically definitely did change like the landscape. Him and Clay, just because that they're so deadly from the outside, it definitely. Yeah,
Clay doesn't get a lot of credit. We should put his name in there too, because he also helped change culture too.
Right, because you have two guys who can shoot, dagger threes, right? And now you add like a Jordan Poole and an Andrew Wiggins to that, and obviously you have Draymond on that team as well. But yeah, you have these guys who can open up the floor, so you have to guard the team in a completely different way, and you have to. Not only are you guarding them in a different way, you also have to like watch for their movement, right? Because that's how they kill you. At least that's how Clay kills you, right? Like off-ball movement is the key to a lot of the Warriors' success, and you have to watch that. What was the one game that Clay scored like 40, 50 points or some shit with only 11 dribbles or something like that?
Yep. It was like 60
something. Yeah.
60,
so awesome, dude.
Right. Like I mean,
you need to go back to that, less dribbling and more.
I mean, it's that kind of ridiculousness, right? Where they get the ball and they put it up either instantly or they get the ball in stride and it's a movement. They're cutting and going to the basket and all that kind of stuff. So you got all these kinds of things. I mean, not only is Steph Curry one of the more like a once in a generation kind of player. This team, the way they play, I don't really even know if you will ever see a team quite like this in terms of how.
Unless you model your coaching after the great.
Well,
one of the greatest white men.
The greatest white man of all times, yeah. Well, but here's the thing: it's not even about the coaching; it's the instincts,
players,
right?
It's everything.
It's the communication.
It's a lot,
and it does start with like your Draymond Green and your Steph Curry leading your team and how they move, right? Like you can't necessarily teach that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they've talked about it before, and it's one of those kinds of things where you can have great players, but you slot them into this team, they might not do well because it's a very specific style that they play in a way where, I mean, they constantly talk about it. They pass up good shots for great shots, right? Like how often do teams do that? How often do superstars do that? Where they'll pass up that's a pretty good, 12-footer, and they'll pass it to the guy who's cutting to the basket for a dunk. They'll pass it to that guy and not take that shot, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's it's that kind of mentality, it's that kind of play that I don't know if we'll really get to see a team like that. So I think that's the other thing that you need that people should be enjoying is how they play basketball.
Speaking on that point, I remember when we were younger or kids, I mean, we've all played together the physical game of basketball before and all that stuff, but there were certain things that you wanted to cover, but you always wanted to make sure you can go to the hoop, have a layup during a 5-on-5, because our version of dunking, of course, was a layup,
It's a layup.
right? Because
Yeah, slapping
so
the backboard.
yeah, slapping the backboard. So for Steph also to change the game with there's kids now that probably don't care about dunking. They just want to shoot a fucking three. So they're
Yeah.
out here killing themselves from age whatever till later on where they're shooting threes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is great because they have somebody like Steph and they're influenced by that. But also,
Mhm.
I was about to say, nowadays too, I bet you we would get washed if we were to take our. We come from a thing of get to the basket, shoot
Get to the
these,
basket.
you know,
ISO,
He's-
ISO, post. That's
Yeah.
how we used to play ball. ISOs and
imagine
post.
imagine if we were to play at Flickinger or whatever park you wanted to talk about. Let's say we're in our 20s or whatever. There was no Steph Curry's around during that time where shots were a big thing like how it is now. But imagine if some guy just went out there and shot the lights out the way Steph is like. We'd be like, dude, we can't get on the court. Dude, this guy's going to be holding court all day. You know what I'm saying?
I experienced that in 2018. That's where I stopped playing basketball.
Well, that's 2018. I'm just saying, like,
No,
you know
no,
what
I meant I was in a charity basketball event, and this guy could not miss a shot, and he played for Google, and we lost big time.
Jesus.
I'll admit,
young guy.
young guy.
Was he
Boston.
just shooting from everywhere?
He was doing some Steph and Chris Paul shit on me. He dribbled right by me and did a layup. The other person, because I had to switch, the person, my teammate that was guarding him, because he was just like, he was getting screens and busting shots open. I'm like, this shit's over, dude. We're not going to beat Google. I'm like, I'll just take second place. I'm already hurt. I'm like, I'm not going to.
I'm just saying, we're dinosaurs. Our style of playing is dinosaurs compared to, like, we would want to get a layup. We'd want to get a breakaway layup. But the guys nowadays, they'd rather fucking stop and pop like from
breakaway
pop
a three.
Yeah, exactly.
For a pop three. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's and maybe we'd only play till 11, maybe 15.
Yeah.
Some of those games that you play
by 2.
Win by 2, dude. Nowadays, I bet you those games go by quick since everyone is just shooting from everywhere. You know what I mean? It just goes quick. It's not like, okay, I'm going to dribble, just like what you said, ISO play, let me get my shit in, or, hey, let's just feed it to Jason down low all the time. No, it's, hey, whoever has a great shot, it could be a good shot, but if you have a great shot, it'd be weird to see people passing the ball like that in a street game.
Well, in a street game, you don't, right.
Unless you know each other. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only thing. A pickup game, you're not going to see that kind of movement. But yeah, obviously, if you're a team of 5 that plays street ball all the time, then I can definitely see that happening. But no, you're not going to be doing pickup games where you're running motions. That's not going to happen. But it's not even the fact that he's shooting threes. That's the thing.
Like
right?
I said, it's not threes. He's the way they're moving him off threes, he's making more 2s than 3s. That's what I'm saying.
Steve Kerr was a 3-point specialist, and he didn't. He was playing on a team with Michael Jordan, and then when he went to San Antonio, he was playing on a team with Tim Duncan, sure. But there have been amazing shooters throughout the year. It's just that it's just the system, the offense, the team dynamic. It's all of that making that 3 more valuable. It used to be more of a bonus than an actual strategy, right? Yeah. That's kind of why Charles Barkley constantly talks about how live by the 3, die by the 3. Back when they were going for their first 3 champions. He would always be talking about how the Warriors are just not as good as previous teams, previous champions, yada yada yada. But it is a completely different way of playing basketball. And because up until the Warriors were winning championships, what would you see? James Harden with the ISO, right? Especially back in the day when you didn't have defensive zones, right? You had to play man back in the day, right? So you would clear out and you would have to play one-on-one. That's how Michael Jordan did a lot of his shit back in the day, right? He'd be one-on-one ISO, and you'd clear the key, right? I mean, that's how they used to do it all the time, and they would take him off the basket. Now, obviously, you don't have that defensive illegal defense anymore, right? You don't have that anymore, so you're allowed to play a little bit more zone. You got to create your openings, whereas back in the day, I used to remember someone would bring it up the middle, and the other four guys would go to the corners of the half court, and I'm like, that's a strategy? Holy shit! I mean, it was really fucking smart because they had to play man back in the day. You couldn't do legal defense back in the day, but or whatever, 3 in the key or whatever the fuck it was.
I'm just saying, back in the day, though, shooting was just so uncool. Like, if I could just talk about my own playing experiences real quick, like, besides having a layup or a breakaway layup or passing or something like that, like, the only thing I really had was maybe a mid-range. Like, 15 feet, I'm good. You know what I mean? Or something like that, right? But even back then, it was even though that may be my best move, I guess, because I could dribble and all that stuff, but am I breaking fools all the time? No. I might catch you with a crossover, but I'm not like, our strengths. I'm talking about what our strengths are. So I just knew, hey, from mid-range, I'm pretty good. And my friends trusted me to be like, hey, you're pretty good here. We can use you here. But I always just saw it as like, oh, I am the last tool. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Besides all these handles, besides the great ability of breaking somebody down, taking somebody to the basket. So I think it's very cool again now. Where,
3-point shots back in the day weren't, on the street weren't worth anything. They weren't worth a show.
Correct.
We didn't, it was 1 point.
But no one was trying to shoot, is what I'm saying. No one was trying to shoot. People would just try to break fools down, maybe make a good team play. You know what I mean? So the times that you would get a guy shooting a mid-range or shooting far away or just shooting in general. And let's just say, just like what Jason said, if he's out here busting us from everywhere. If you saw a guy like that back in the early 2000s or even late 90s or whatever, you'd be like, oh, fuck, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, this guy.
Because most of the time, those shots are low percentage shots, Most of the time, you put up 10, you're going to make 2 or 3, right?
But put Steph anywhere around the key nowadays. It's just remember how he had his teardrop scoop shots that he does. Oh, Jason, by the way, did you see that where he broke? I think there might have been like maybe 7 minutes. I think this is when they were taking the lead, where put on a little dribbling exhibition, right? I know what's
was this on the second half?
Yeah, I think it might have been in the fourth quarter already, right?
I stopped watching, and then they ended up winning.
After that play?
No. I stopped watching after halftime.
Well, there's this one play where
you didn't want to jinx it.
Yeah. And then they won.
No, but there's this one play where he just like, oh, I have it. Oh, I do. Kind of like putting somebody on skates. Steph is known for that. So I think today at one point, I think the guy just got lost. I forget what defender it was, but he just he basically opened the lane for Steph to go in and do a crazy hook shot or a teardrop shot, to where I think the guy had a fucking like a glitch in the Matrix. Like he got broken off to where he's like, oh, okay, go by me, please. And he did, and it was just I don't know if we'll make the highlights, but it was, it was in the second half. Pretty good. Guys, this is episode 149 of the Hub 408. We're past our 2-hour mark. Any recommendations, guys? We should wrap this show up. I do have work tomorrow at 8 in the morning, so I have to go to work tomorrow morning. Jason, any recommendations for this episode?
Hold on, I gotta look it up because I have it saved on my.
There you go, Jason.
I got 2, and it's all related to Jordan, which is hella crazy.
Oh, nice. So, what is it?
So the first one is it's on the NBA YouTube channel. It's so this is what I'm talking about. Eye test. So I want the LeBron fans to watch. Who's ever out there, LeBron fans. I'm not taking away from LeBron and what he does in his career. He's done great things. But if But if you've never seen Jordan play, and I'm talking about the eye test, I'm not talking about longevity stats. I'm talking about what he did on the court. You have to watch. It's on the NBA YouTube channel. It's called Michael Jordan's Historic Bulls Mixtape. You have to watch that.
Oh, I know that one.
You
I have
to
that
watch
saved on my shit.
Yeah.
That's an amazing tape right there.
It's like you'll understand why when I say eye test, because you see the craziest things you've never. It's like you've seen the game, but you don't remember what he did. Sometimes it's like, oh shit, he did that. You know, just like it's like. And then I've seen a LeBron fan online. He watched it, and he was just in awe. And he legitimately said, if we're not talking about stats and if we're just looking at the players side by side, Jordan is the best player of all time. That's what he said. A LeBron fan. LeBron. The other one is this was 3 years ago. It's the YouTube channel is Blitz Sports Network. He did this in 2019, so it may be a little bit different, but top 100 Michael Jordan feats that LeBron James will never pass. It's crazy. Like legitimately, he goes through every Michael Jordan feat, and then he'll compare LeBron's feats. Like it's insane. It's pretty insane. So those are my two recommendations. You know, it's that second video is like even being as a kid watching the Jordan era, I thought those feats were crazy. That's insane. So yeah, that's the two I got.
All right, Waldo, what about you? Any recos for
this week was a new Marvel show. Ms. Marvel came out. Kamala Khan. I mean, she is one of my favorite new characters. Like I for a while I kind of stopped reading Marvel and DC comics, like a little bit after 2000 whatever, right? And eventually I started coming back to it, and I'm really happy that there's all these like shows and movies that are kind of focusing on these characters that didn't really, that are starting to come into their own, like the Hawkeye show, right? Mm-hmm. Like I always talked about the Mac Fraction run, and they made a show kind of based off that. She-Hulk's coming out with a new one. Thor has the new, God Butcher storyline, which is one of my favorite Thor stuff. So I'm really happy to see a lot of these somewhat more recent storylines of these characters coming out, and Kamala Khan is definitely one of those new storylines that are coming out, and I'm really I like the first episode so far. It's definitely got that Disney feel to it, which I guess is kind of what they're good at, making a show about like kids in high school and whatnot. It's got that feel to it. It's a little cheesy, but it feels more like a Disney show rather than a Marvel show, which I'm not hating on, right? Like if you've read the book, she has a different vibe, she's a fan of the superheroes, right? Mm-hmm. Like she's an actual fan. She writes fan fiction. She does she puts up videos and podcasts talking about her love of the Avengers and whatnot, and then all of a sudden she gets a superpower, and it's one of those kinds of like wish fulfillment, dream come true kind of things. But just her positive attitude, at least in the books, right? Like the first episode is it's a little bit more grounded. She's not as like bubbly as in the books, I feel, but it's a little bit more grounded in that she's still very positive, but she still has this whole rebelliousness, with her parents, and she's trying to live her own life, but her parents are trying to basically like guide her the only way they know how, So it's got that kind of like so it's got that kind of teenage appeal parents suck kind of thing. They don't really lean too heavily into the Muslim stuff, whereas in the book, it's a little bit more prominent. This is a little bit more subtle, I feel. So it's really good so far. I feel nothing too much goes on in this first episode. It's really just an origin story, but hopefully it gets really good. Hopefully it gets more story chunks, right? There's not a whole lot of story chunks so far. Just world building and setup and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm recommending. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Ms. Marvel, so I'm gonna tell people to watch it if they can.
Just my take on that recommendation that you just said, because I was able to watch the first episode also. You said that maybe in the comic books they lean more into the whole Muslim lifestyle or aspect. Here, though, you do see them talking about I believe they're Pakistani, so I believe they're the same way, say, we would view, say, Filipinos or say Ned's Lola, a representation. Even though I don't speak for this Pakistani community, it's the same vibes I got when I was watching, say, something like Turning Red. You get to see Asian culture to a point that people are connecting with the mom because of the way the things that she goes through, or what she goes through. So here, if you listen enough, or if you have the subtitles on, just like how I do, you could probably learn some Pakistani with some of the words, like, oh, I figured it out. That probably beta means probably baby or kid. You know what I mean? So I love how they bring that aspect into it of that. But also, just like what you said, she's somebody that just acquires powers. I think it's a fun show. It may not be what people, because talking to other people too, or reading online, they were like, oh, I don't even know if I really asked for this or if I'm interested in this or whatever. But the fact that it's here, it's available, I was like, let me check it out. And I enjoyed this first episode to where it was fun. It was actually a fun dude. If we're gonna see Peter Parker go through being a kid, becoming Spider-Man, why not for everybody else so too? If they happen to do it correctly. You brought up Hawkeye earlier with him and Cape, right? Having that relationship. I was talking to somebody today, actually, and I said they didn't really understand the Hawkeye. Like, dude, I just don't get it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, my friend Waldo, has loved this Hawkeye book for years, talking about, Hawkeye and Matt Fraction's run for years. So he told me that a lot of the stuff from the show is not only source material, but they kind of paid homage or played it pretty straight to whatever was going on in the pages. He goes, really? And I go, yeah, it happened to be. I think, and it's a Matt Fraction. It's written by Matt. And he goes, Matt Fraction's good. I was like, yeah, he is. So I don't understand why, if you're a Matt Fraction fan, you're probably gonna love, this show if you have read those books. So I get it, though, when somebody doesn't read the source material, doesn't, when they come across these shows, they may be like, dude, I didn't ask for this. But just like you, there was a resurgence of reading during a time and good writing during the time, I think, when Ms. Marvel was even introduced. I forget what year she was introduced, but there was a lot of...
like 2012 or something like that, I think.
But remember how there was a lot...
It was around that time,
Comics, it was pretty hot during that time. You know what I mean? It was really, really hot with a lot of good storylines during that time. So when she came out, she definitely made an impact of like, hey, we're going here. We're going to turn the page and have diverse characters. She's the one that kicked down the door for a lot of the characters that have stuff going on right now.
I think around the 2010s is when there was like a bunch of stories that were coming out that was really, really good. Like I said, like Jason Aaron doing Thor. Was it Jason Aaron or Kieran Gillen? But the God Butcher arc, right, which is what they're doing for Love and Thunder right now. With with Christian Bale coming out as Gore, right? That's a storyline, one of my favorite Thor storylines. They're just really good. I would also want to say like character defining runs came out around that time, and that's what they're putting to film right now, which I greatly appreciate personally. I mean, I read a lot of these things at a time where I kind of stopped reading, anything from the big two. I was mainly reading like Image and indie stuff at that point, but these books got me back into loving the big two because they're very much character driven, amazing storylines that I keep telling people to read.
I think I've said it on this pod before, but Civil War is what really got me back into reading some of those books back in the day. So even though I didn't get a perfect Civil War on screen, it's also one of the best movies, though. I can appreciate, movie that's
it's definitely
done
a
that
good
way.
movie, yeah.
Or even, again, a movie that's well beloved here, The Winter Soldier. I was talking to somebody about The Winter Soldier the other day too, and they were like, "Dude, that could be the perfect Marvel movie. Like it's so badass, all this stuff." So sometimes they get certain things right. You know what I mean? I think it was either Civil War, Death of Captain America. You know how like who shot Cap, all that, and who's gonna get a shield, all that stuff. And at the same time, I think on the DC side, I think that's when Batman went away, and it's like, hey, is Robin now gonna be the it was during that time. So I'm glad that you get to see these just like what you said, Ninja. I'm glad you get to see these type of stories, these good things that's going on right now. They're on a roll. Marvel's kicking. I mean, they kick butt with Moon Knight. They're kicking butt with this. Oh well, Disney in a whole. Obi-Wan's doing well.
Obi-Wan's doing pretty well. Yeah.
We got Thor coming out too. Like that's huge. I mean, we just went through Doctor Strange too, so I think it's pretty huge. What up, G? How are you? So, I think this is it, though, guys. We are going to end the show right now, though. We gave you guys an extra 16 minutes. Any last words? Any last, Jason?
Did you have a reco?
Oh, did I have a reco? Damn, I just watched something that was really, really cool, actually. I think it's on A&E or something like that. It's the biography of Bobby Brown. Actually, very interesting. You know what I mean? Talk about his early days of, New Edition to later on in life. Yeah, I know some people have maybe not liked the type of person he turned out to be later on in life and all that stuff. But, to see somebody that has New Edition has definitely influenced one of the biggest, boy groups or whatever R&B, ever. So if you know the source of something, you're going to want to tap into that. I wouldn't think I'd be watching a freaking Bobby Brown documentary, but I did, and it's actually pretty good. So go ahead and check that out. But yeah, that's all I got. You know what I mean? Well, another nerdy thing. I don't know if Jason has seen this or whatever, but just real quick before we get out of here. Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed, he has his YouTube channel, Up Down Down, his gaming channel, and all that stuff. But hey, Prince Pretty is back in the building. So this is somebody that used to work and wrestle for the WWE to where he got let go, his contract got terminated, and this is the first time you've ever seen somebody that's not on the main roster all of a sudden be allowed to do WWE content, which they've been a stickler about. Yeah. So I think
that's why it's surprise.
Xavier Woods has fought for his channel because a lot of people were getting in trouble of, hey, you can't do your own YouTube channel. You can't, Vince was like, hey, we don't want you guys doing anything that if you don't get permission from us, you can't do it. So a lot of people thought that Xavier Woods and what he was doing on his own, because he started this gaming channel, just him on his own. But the more he got people over, started doing content, it's cool that you get to see players hang out and, just play video games, whether it's freaking Uno or, they do a whole bunch of stuff on Up Down Down. but Prince Pretty, who worked as Tyler Breeze, got let go of the company a couple of months ago. Kind of worked the indies, just kind of chilling. He has his own wrestling school, but now he is allowed back to, and they're doing Battle of the Brands.
Battle of the Brands.
So they're
That's
basically
season 5 or something like that.
yeah, they're basically taking the booking aspect of WWE 2K22 because they gave it back to us in the system after it's been gone since like 2008. They gave this mode for the fans to where, hey, you can be your own commissioner. I believe there's a 2-player option to where me and Jason, you could be head of Raw or I could be head of SmackDown, and we can compete against each other. So you don't see any of the matches unless you want to watch them, but it's basically simulations and it's fast. So it's kind of cool to see people book matches and all that stuff. So kind of interesting to see a character or an employee. He's like, dude, I don't even work here anymore. I could do, he's like, I'm a free agent. I don't even have to be here. So them cracking jokes, it's funny. That's actually a pretty good reco. Sometimes you watch these matches and all of a sudden they'll start talking about outside things. You know what I mean? To where it's pretty funny. So you get to see an actual friendship. Nerdy guys. Yeah, they're playing video games. They could be playing Harvest Moon or whatever, and these guys are just talking and having fun. So that's actually a pretty good channel. It's Xavier Woods, up, down, down. I know Jason has recommended stuff off that channel in the past. Me and him are big fans of that channel. So yeah, if you want to watch some really nerdy, super nerdy stuff, I mean, what's nerdier than wrestlers breaking character and just like, hanging out, playing video games and all that stuff. It's really, really cool. So go ahead and check that out. Anything else though, guys, besides before we get up out of here? All right. Well, guys, it's been an honor. We'll see you guys. We appreciate you. Episode 150 next Friday. Take care, guys. Peace.
Best of 3.
Go Dubs.